Good morning, all of you. I hope I am audible. Anyone can quickly acknowledge in the chat box. Thank you for your replies. I hope the presentation screen is visible. Anyone can quickly acknowledge whether the shared PPT presentation screen is visible. Thank you. So welcome back to the course on cryptography and system security. So in our last session, we have started with the module number 5. Under that, we discussed about the different vulnerabilities, or when we talk about the vulnerabilities, which are the weaknesses, right? So we discussed about different vulnerabilities which are present in each and every layer of TCP/IP protocol suite, right? We had started from the application layer, and then we discussed about transmission layer, network layer, data link layer, and then the physical layer, right? And we discussed about different possibilities of vulnerabilities, right, associated with each and every layer which present in the uh, TCP protocol suite, right? We'll continue that, right? Along with that, the other modules or other sub module which are coming under the unit 5, which is this is related with, I can number, which is 5.3. So I feel this is more important prior attention to be given for this topic, so I'm just starting with this. Later I will cover the module 5.2, right, which is a distributed denial of services, right? Under the module 5.3, we'll be covering, or we'll be studying about the different important email securities as well as IP security, and then we discussed about web security. Under the email security, we will be studying about different security services, and then email attacks possible through email, and then we'll be covering about establishing different keys as well as authentication source, message integrity, non-repudiations. And so this is one important technique which is used for email security, which is pretty good privacy. And under that, so this is /MIME, multi-purpose internet mail extension, which will be one subtype through which we will achieve the email security. When we talk about IP security, under the module IP security, we'll be covering about important concepts like overview of the IP security, IP version 4, and then version 6 format types, and then authentication header, and then encapsulation security payload. So all these things which comes under the IP security. When we talk about web security, under the web security topic, we'll be covering two important protocol, which is SSL, secure socket layer, and then transport layer security. So this is the quick the abstract through which we will understand, or we will learn about these core concepts under the module 5.3. Okay, when we talk about email security, right, so we all in everyday life we are using a mails, right, which is electronic mail from your device to other devices or other users through the specific URL or the specific mail ID, and you can send a messages, right? So here the mail, right, whatever the messages which we can send. When we talk about SMTP, simple mail transfer protocol, this was the protocol which was used beginning, right, maybe in the previous generations, right? So this was used only for transmitting the numbers or plain text informations, right? Then later they've added the features, they developed the protocols, and when we use that, no, this PGP based email services, right, the advanced email system, which includes all your pictures and other, it can accept all type of formats, all type of documents, right, images, videos, and other things, right? Now, so when we talk about the email, the different parts, the to address and subject, and followed by you will have another option BCC and CC. Can anyone say what is this BCC and CC? You are using email, right? Can anyone say what is BCC? I think someone has given an answer in the chat box. I will. Yes, carbon copy. And what is BCC? What is BCC? See, if you wanted to send the same copy to the multiple users, right? Yes. So in the you can add one actual recipients. If the same copy to be transferred or sent to the multiple users, you can use CC, which is a carbon copy, and the same mail will be delivered to the multiple person. When you wanted to send the same mail to the multiple users, but the receiver should not aware that whether the copies are transferred to the multiple receivers. In that cases, you will use a blind carbon copy, right? Now I wanted to ask you one more question. What is the maximum file size we can upload or we can transfer through an email service? What is the maximum file size which is allowed in email service? Any guess? Yes, Mahima, you are correct. No need to doubt about it. The maximum allowed file upload size through the email service is 25 MB. Good, you guessed it correctly, right? If you are trying to send more than 25 MB of data, I mean more than a file which is more than or greater than 25 MB, so in that cases, whatever the file which you are trying to send, that will be uploaded in your drive, and through the drive you can share the link to the receiver, right? Automatically the file will be uploaded on a drive and that will be shared through the link. Next we'll be covering about some of the other services which are comes under an email security. The first one is that when we use this email security, right? So the services for the email security is the confidentiality. So you know very well about what is confidentiality. Other than the intended receivers, no other users should not read the message, right? The protection of the email from disclosures. Here the disclosure can be an attacker, right? Attacker may disclose the information, or he may capture the packets, or he may capture the email, or he may no attack the email, and you should not get the information what is being conveyed through an email service, right? Again, the second one is that authentication of the source. Now, so this can be achieved by sending that, right, whether the message is coming from an authenticated user, right? Again, by referring the email ID from the source or sender, right, the receiver will assume that whether the message is coming from or the email is coming from an authenticated users, right? Again, the message integrity, protection from the modification during the transmission of an email, right? So here integrity is something that the data which has transferred from the sender, that should be delivered to the receiver without any changes, alteration, deletion or modifications, right? Again, the fourth services, which is non-repudiation of origin, protection from a denial by a sender, right? Non-repudiation of origin means after sending an email, right, at any point of time, sender should not deny whatever the mail is sent to the other persons. So these are the four basic services which supposed to be achieved when we are implementing the email security. The first one is confidentiality, the second one is an authentication, and the third one is message integrity, and the fourth one is non-repudiation. Any queries regarding the four services which I explained so far? If you have any queries, quickly you can write in the chat box. Okay, so I'm getting the positive acknowledgements from your side, so it gives a great signal to proceed further. So other than that, so those four were the basic services, right? Apart from that, some other services, right, which an additional services, right? The first one is that the proof of submission. So here, through which, right, after delivering an email, right, so it needs to prove that whether the mail has been submitted, right? Again, almost the proof of submission as well as the proof of delivery, which are going to be same. When it comes for the proof of delivery, right, after delivering a mail, right, you will be getting a notices that email sent. Suppose if the receiver address is not available, or if there is no such email id exist, immediately you will get an error message, right, stating that whatever the mail id which you have mentioned in the recipient address that does not exist. Or maybe you will get a notice that mail server error, right? In that cases, right, that gives that information about your message has not been delivered to the receivers, right, due to various reasons. The reason could be that the receiver's mail id does not exist, or maybe the receiver mail server might have crashed, right, due to some other things, right? And the second and the next thing is that, and the service number 7 is that message flow confidentiality. So here, this is the flow. When we talk about the flow, whenever the data is transmitted over the network, or maybe after releasing from the sender machine and before receiving the, or before reaching the destination machine, right? So in between, the information whenever it travels on the different networking units, right, or different networking entities like the cables or maybe the packets through the air medium, right, in all the ways, right, protecting that information, right, intruder unable to know whether the message is sent not between the users, right? And user or the attacker should not get any information about whenever the message is transmitting on the network. And the anonymity, right, again, anonymity, right? So this anonymity not for the sender and anonymity for the attackers. If the attacker try to get an information after getting an email, suppose if he wanted to intercept or he wanted to know the information about from whom the message is sent, right? And so that should not be revealed, right? Because whenever the email communication takes place, right, from the sender to the receiver, the entire information which are going to be masked, which are going to be transferred in the form of encryption. After the message delivered to the receiver, right, then only so the information can be availed, right? Again, the next services will be the containment, ability to maintain a network security. So this is more or less related to the message flow confidentiality. Here they are trying to protect the information which is transmitted over the network, right? Again, so here they are trying to protect the networking devices, the complete network which is used for transmitting your email, right? And then audit. When you talk about an audit is something that, right, a team or maybe committee or any software or any tool with the help of a particular resources or a team of people, right, they will periodically check or inspect whether this email services or email security which works properly by attaining all the services, right, which are mentioned in the previous numbers, right? And so auditing committee will inspect and they will generate the report, and that will be forwarded to the administrator. Depends upon the report received, and in case if any patches to be done or any concepts or any technology which to be added in order for the better services or maybe for no increases security, right, the precautionary measures will be taken, right, based on the suggestions or remarks which has been given by the audit team, right? Again, the self destruct, again, suppose if the email is not delivered, right, again, so it depends on that, right, that you can have the feature that the email can be destruct automatically. And then message sequence, again, so this can be in what ways how the packets are delivered in case of the wireless communication, right? I mean wireless transmission or UDP protocol. And suppose if you are using TCP protocol, right, how the packet which are to be delivered, whether it is sequentially using the different segmentation reassembly in case if the file size is more than the allowed size. So these are the few services which are related with the email security. Any queries regarding this, the different services which I explained? Okay, next we'll learn about the different possible attacks when we are using a email, right? The first attack is the phishing attack. When we talk about this phishing attack, this is a type of attack, right, where the attacker will attempt to find the information like username and password either directly indirectly, right? The person who is sitting behind to you or who is sitting next to you, right, whenever you are sending a message, right, and whenever you are trying to log in with your email, right, and he may try to identify, right, what password you are entering, what type of credential you are entering. So that is indirectly, right? When we talk about the directly, right, attacker may use a different keyloggers, right? Keyloggers might without the user's knowledge, right, they might have installed the keylogger in your device, and with the help of the keylogger they will try to catch the informations what you typed, in what sequence you typed, right? Based on that they will try to identify what was your credentials, right, whether what password you have entered, what username you have entered. After that what they will do, right, they will log in into your email and then they will send a fabricated messages, right? Say for example, and yeah, this is one attack, right, which is a phishing attack, right? Now, to avoid these things, right, what precautionary measures, in order to avoid this precautionary measures, what you can do is that you can make sure that whether you have installed the proper antivirus in your device or in your device whatever you are using, whether it is laptop or mobile, right? So that in case if any malware is installed without your permission, that can be detected and that can be discarded or which can be removed from your device automatically, right? So otherwise what will happen if the attacker getting your informations, credential, username and password, there are chances that they can misuse your email ID, right? They will send any threatening message to other persons, right? And finally the police people or the investigation people, they will come to you and then they will start inquiring, why did you send the message, why did you send the email, why did you send this threatening email, right? And after that you may need to give an explanation, right? So this is a phishing attack without your permission, right? The attacker, right, or the misusers, they will try to acquire your credentials like username and password, right? And the second one is that the malware distribution, right? Again, so this is kind of a virus, right? Malicious program, right, which will be launched on your machine, right, which will get some information about your email, and that can be shared with the attacker, right? So this can be any type of viruses, right? Maybe the Trojanus virus, maybe other type of viruses, and from that the attacker will try to get the informations, right? Again, the spam attack or junk mail attack, right? So when we talk about the spam attack here, what the email or user subscriber, you'll be getting a millions of spam. So when we talk about the spam attacker, we will send your the spam mails to your email account, right? See, imagine that if you are getting thousands of spam mail, right? Maybe in a month you are 25 MB of email or maybe 15 MB of Gmail account, right, which will be completely occupied with the spam mail, right? So the fourth possible attack is denial of secure attack, right? Attackers send a bulk email, either make overflow or crash. So this is similar to the spam attack. So here attacker will send maybe a normal mail or maybe a spam mail, right? So through that your email system will be completely busy, right? And so with you might have your inbox might have filled, and that will overflow, right? With you might be running out of storage, and you may not be able to provide, or you may not be able to send a message due to this attack, right? Excuse me. So far, we discussed about different four possible attacks. The first one is a phishing attack, and the second one is malware distribution, and the third one is a spam attack, and the fourth one was a denial of secure attack. Actually, this is a denial of service we can use for secure also. Suppose if the user is not able to send an email, or if the user is not able to receive an email. See, imagine that if your inbox is completely filled, if you are running out of memory, what will do? You will not receive any mail, right? Your message or your email will be in a waiting list unless until you clear some of the mails from an email. So this is very similar in time of all types of messages. Suppose if you are getting a message, if your inbox is full, right? I think you would have experienced when we are using a standard or no the Nokia 1100 kind of phones, right? Where you can able to store only 70 to 80 messages. And if your inbox is full, you will not be able to receive messages. You need to delete some messages, then only you will get the messages in your inbox. Similarly, your email box is completely occupied or completely filled, you will not receive any email. So this is a denial of service attack. Any doubts regarding these four possible attacks? If you have any queries, quickly you can write in the chat box or unmute and ask your doubt. I'll be happy to answer for your doubt. Okay, so I hope there are no more queries. I can go to the next, right? So as I was discussing, right? So this is the pretty good privacy, which is a PGP. So this is one of an important email security system, right? So this was widely used de facto, and so you might be heard about two standard, which is a de facto, de standard, right? When we talk about de facto, right? So this will used orally without any written documents. So here this will use as standards, maybe no IEEE standards, maybe any other protocols, maybe any um, electronics industry association. There are different forums through which, right? So they will submit the document, they will demonstrate it completely, and then they will get the approval. Right now, this whatever the email system which we are going to study, which is PGP, which is a pretty good privacy, right? Which is a de facto standard email security system, which was developed by this author Phil Zimmerman, right? So here this algorithm, right, which can be used in all type of operating system, right? Unix and Windows and Mac Windows system, right? And so this is available free in the beginning. Now it is becoming the commercial versions, depends upon the email system which you wanted to use. Different versions available. So when we talk about the PGP services, so these are the four services we're trying to achieve using the PGP. The first one is an authentication, confidentiality, compression, email compatibility, and segmentation and reassembly. Right? Out of this, and we already discussed several times regarding the authentication and confidentiality, right? And though we covered, we'll discuss all the concepts once again with respect to the PGP service, right? Now this is the diagram through which I'm trying to explain, right, how the different authentication as well as confidentiality and the combination might have achieved, right? So message, hash function, hash code, whatever the hash code which is used, right, which are encrypted using private key of the sender, right? So here the message with combined hash code. So here the concatenation symbol, it is the actual message with the hash code. Hash code is an encrypted hash code, right? In order to do the encryption, they have used private key of the sender, right? So message plus encrypted hash code which are combined, the complete information which are applied to this email security, which is PGP algorithm, right? The Z stands here for an email security, right, which is whatever the algorithm which we are going to study, which is email security PGP, and the entire information which is transmitted, right? First the reverse operation which is carried out, right, and then so they will be doing the reverse process. They will be segmenting this message, and then hash code will be again decrypted using public key of sender, and they will get the actual information. Again, from the received message, they will apply the hash function whatever they have used here. If it is SHA, and SHA algorithm will be used again here, and it will produce an hash code. Both the hash code will be compared, through which authentication can be achieved. When we talk about confidentiality, right, here the confidentiality, so here there can be the different combination through which you can achieve both the authentication and confidentiality. Here they are applying the no the compression, or the email security operation first, and followed by whatever the value which they are getting. For that they are no using secret key, right? Now whatever the key a k is, which is called a session key or secret key, right, that is used for encryption, and followed by this secret key which is encrypted using public key of B. I hope it is clear. They are encrypting the information using a secret key. The secret key again which is encrypted using public key of B, so that this key can be decrypted only by this receiver, because this secret key which is encrypted using receiver's public key. So who will be decrypting it? The person who knows the private key of B only can decrypt it, right? So the reverse process. So here this the decryption with the help of the private key of B, you will get a secret key, and then you will do the decryption, and after that you will do for the reverse of email compression, and then you will get the actual message. Now the another important thing is that in order to achieve both the confidentiality as well as authentication, they can combine these two techniques one after the other, right? So here this the compression function, that I mean the PGP function, which can be used maybe in the beginning or maybe at the end, so that depends upon the user, right? It is the combination of encryption with the private key of the sender as well as encryption using the public key of the receiver. By the way, it achieves both confidentiality as well as an authentication. So whatever the concept which I explained so far, authentication, confidentiality, as well as the confidentiality and authentication, both the concept which already discussed when we studied RSA algorithm, the same concept with respect to the email security. Any queries regarding this confidentiality, authentication, and combination of both? If you have any queries, quickly you can write in the chat box. I hope there are no queries, so I can proceed further. Right? Next, we'll discuss about the different operations we discussed about, right, in the previous slide: authentication, confidentiality, and then compression, right, and then segmentation, reassembly. We'll discuss all the operation one after other, right? First, the sender creates a message. So this is what the message which you are trying to send, right? And then, so as I mentioned, so here this the PGP algorithm which uses SHA-1 algorithm, and we know that SH algorithm which produce 160-bit message digest or hash code, right? Again, the hash code is encrypted with the RSA using the sender's private key in order to achieve, right, this whatever the concept which I explained through the diagram, right? They have, again I am just written in the uh, uh, through the words, right? So here what the thing you need to understand is that, right, the message, and in order to do the hash function they are using SHA-1 algorithm which produces 160-bit hash code. So now they are using an RSA algorithm. That means that in order to achieve authentication they are using sender's private key, right? So this can be, so not only this RS algorithm, you can use any digital signature algorithm which is Elgamal digital signature algorithm or any other algorithm, right, where specifically, right, encryption has to be carried out using this sender's private key, right? So after that, receiver generate the new hash code for the message and compresses, right? So here this, sorry, and compares with the decrypted hash code, right? And then they will make sure that whether the message is coming from an authenticated users, right, by comparing both the hash codes which are calculated as well as received from the sender, right? Similarly, the confidentiality here, whatever the algorithm which they have used for session key, right, here the size of the session key or the secret key which they have used is 128-bit, right? So this can be any random, right? And apart from that they can use any standard. So this is not a, RS algorithm, right? So here they are using a symmetric key encryption. So where you found, you saw this EC which is encryption and decryption. So this encryption algorithm which can be cas 128, IDEA, or 3DES, or maybe the DES algorithm, that depends, right? Because they are using 128-bit key, so they need to go with the algorithm which uses more than 128 keys, right? And the rest of the things which I already explained with the diagram, right? The same concepts. So here how this both the services can be achieved, are used in order to achieve both the authentication as well as confidentiality. Next, the important thing is that, see, the compression operation, right? When you talk about the compression, right, it can, when we are sending any email, right, the algorithm should make sure that, right, the message which has to be compressed as much as possible, so that the packet or the information which can be because the email has to be transferred over the network, right? If you are transferring the information without compressing it, what will happen? Definitely the size will be bigger, right? It takes a time, right? So to avoid those things, to reduce the network traffic, right, we'll, this algorithm will try to reduce the size, right, using a compression function, right? So here this can be the default method, right, which is the PGP algorithm which compresses a message after signing and before encrypting, right? So the message is compressed, so where after digital signature is applied, and after that, right, the message can be complied, sorry, message can be compressed. I repeat, the PGP algorithm which compresses a message after signing but before encrypting. So here, what is this sign? Signing here is that applying an hash function, and you will get a digital signature. Digital signature is a signing here and before encryption, but it depends on the organization. They can follow any method. If they wanted to give the importance to the hash, right, they will go with this. Suppose if they wanted to give importance for the message, first they wanted to reduce the size, they will apply compression function, and they will go for the applying the hash functions, right? So they will use a zip compression algorithm, right? Or they can use a radix 64-bit conversion through which your file size will be reduced 3 by 4. So that if it is your 100 MB of data, so this will reduce to 75% MB. And there are different compression techniques through which your message will be reduced, right, without compromising the quality of the information which you are trying to transmit. All right. So again, you would have studied about different compression techniques, lossless compression as well as lossy compression. When we talk about lossless compression, the data has to be compressed so that this will not allow any loss of information, right? When you are transferring some video kind of information where certain loss might be accepted, right? That kind of compression which call lossy compressions. I hope this is clear. Next, the important operation is that email compatibility, right? So whatever the message which we are going to send, right, when we are using the PGP, so that will have binary data, right? All the information which are only in the form of binary data, right? Now, basically, I was explained when we are using SMTP, which was used only for the text, right? So this all the information, whatever the information which they wanted to transfer, any information, whether it is email or video or maybe pictures, all the information which are going to be converted into the bits, and the binary information only which is going to be transferred through the email, right? So now this PGP will encode a raw binary data into printable ASCII character which uses and radix 64 informations, right? So this radix 64 algorithm, right? So in order to convert our actual binary values into the ASCII values, which will map the 3 bytes to the 4 printable characters, right? And also which appends CRC. CRC stands for cyclic redundancy check. So this technique which is used to check any errors are occurred or any loss of bits during the transmission, right? And also this pretty good privacy algorithm which segments the message if too big. Now what is this segmentation? Whatever the information which has to be transferred, that will be divided into smaller units. So this smaller unit is called segment. Each and every segment which is numbered 1 2 3 4 5 6, and this segment will be transferred over the network. After receiving these segments by the receiver, now we will do the reassembly. This is segmentation and reassembly process, right? Based on the numbers or segment number which is assigned, and now the receiving end, it will reassemble the packet based on the number which is assigned for the segments, and finally they will apply for the all reverse operation so that they will get the complete email. Right? Any queries so far whatever I explained? If you have any queries, quickly you can write in the chat box. I have all of you who have wrote the attendance in the chat box, right? I'll resume the session after 5 minutes. Once if the meeting gets, you can join after 5 minutes so that I can continue with the topics.